How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. Yeah, today we're gonna go to fucking work. We're gonna go to work. I actually got a lot of questions from the audience this week, so we're gonna tackle a lot of different topics. I think a lot of it is gonna be like that early stage of dating. Somebody was talking to me about limerance. Somebody brought up the invisible string theory. I don't know if I'm gonna touch on that today, but we might just really quick because I just wanted to call people out. And then I don't know, we had a couple other just different questions. A lot about like standards and finding and attracting the right partner. We're going to go all over the map today. And yeah, so it's going to be fun. Now, here's the thing though. I did have some funny updates once more. It really is. It's so good. And the reason these are important, it's not actually, let me not even say that. I don't even know if this is important. But it doesn't really matter if it is or it isn't, because I'm going to tell you and you can make that determination for yourself. So I don't remember if you guys remember the story though. This is crazy though, how this keeps happening to me. There was a girl on a rooftop that I had, like hit on her, whatever, and had gotten her number. I remember, I think I mentioned it briefly and I told you that I was being like kind of like razzle dazzle, like I'm being my like douchey self. And I thought that was the reason that this girl maybe didn't text me back. Remember, she like put her number in my phone, but she only put her first initial of her last name. You want to hear something fucking crazy? Come on with this shit. So I'm on Instagram. There's a girl that goes to my gym that works at the hotel that I went to. She wasn't there that day. So I ran into her the other day at the gym. And so she posted something about the hotel. The girl that I had hit on was in the picture. So I'm like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't see her profile. So I tap on it and I tap on the girl's profile. Lo and behold, bro, homegirl's got pictures with her, man. Come on, dog. What? This is vicious out here. Now here's the thing. I don't know if they're still together. It could be one of those things where like, you know how like a girl breaks up with a guy and there's like that lingering time where the photos stay up for a little while. I feel like it might've been that because I'm getting that vibe. They haven't posted in a little bit, but still now I'm like wondering, I'm like, okay, now I know why she didn't give me her last name. Now I know why she was suspect. Again, I keep blaming myself. I'm like, oh, it's me. I'm too much or I'm doing some shit. Wrong, not true. So that's an update. Another update. And again, I could be or could have felt that I was blaming myself when it's not a situation in which it was required to do so. So remember how I told you I gave you guys the update that the girl, I pretty much ghosted her because she was being a little like flaky and weird. And then I was like, I came on the next podcast and I was like, hey, like, I just felt that wasn't the way I wanted to go out, right? That wasn't me leading with love. That wasn't me leading with good energy. So I asked her if she wanted to do a phone call. We did. You want to hear something crazy? Come on. You guys already know the ending to this fucking story. Come on. It's not the same as the previous one. It's not that. At least I don't know. But turns out, I kind of gave it a lot of space for like a week. I hit her up to chill. I was like, yeah, we should do something on like Sunday. She's like, oh, I'm busy. She was like, oh, when are you next available? Send her my availability. Maybe she was waiting for a date. See, here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing. I immediately go into like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I said something weird. Think about this numerous times now, right? The girl in New York that I said, I don't want to go to drinks and she ghosted me. She had a boyfriend. The girl here at the hotel, when I gave her my number, she was being kind of weird. I sent her a message and I feel like I was like, I don't know, joking with her in the initial text message. And I thought, oh, maybe I was being too jokey and she got turned off. Also had like a boyfriend. Crazy. This situation, I don't know what the vibe is. I really don't. But anyways, I sent her my availability. No text messages. Ghost. Straight ghost. Haven't heard from her since. So she now has actually avoided me 1000%. Now, initially, I did start to feel anxious about this. And this is going to lead us into our first topic and our first question. Somebody hit me up about limerance. And it was this person that I'm not working with her, but a girl that I'm doing a favor for. She sent me over her situation. And essentially she was talking about how it's really stressful for her. Like, she's been single for a really long time. She's in her peacefulness, but every single time that she meets a new guy, she just can't help but give it her all, right? And she seems to get very attached, right? She seems to get anxious. So what happens is if a guy takes a really long time to respond, she gets in her head, right? She starts to have those feelings. She starts to feel really anxious and she doesn't know what to do. And then it turns into maybe an overthinking spiral. And then you feel like you're doing too much. And again, to me, I feel like I semi-relate to that, right? When I sent my availability, now it's not that I was stressed out because we had that phone call and I was like, it is what it is. I know she's busy. I know she does her thing. So it wasn't really that. But after a whole day, a day and a half now, I'm not hearing from her again. It started to come up, right? It's like that anxiety. It's a lot. And honestly, to be real, I actually haven't heard from her since. And I'm not reaching out to her anymore. Again, you don't know what the situation is. What is also funny about that, I know I'm jumping. What's also funny about that, though, is on Wednesday this week, yesterday, it was Tuesday, so it was 3 days after, she likes my Instagram story. She liked my Instagram story. I sent you my availability, but instead of texting me back, you liked my Instagram story. The fuck? But you know what it is? Here's where we need to elevate ourselves, and everything that I help you guys with on this podcast, I hope it's leading to this place, which is you have to be secure in yourself in these situations. And I know it's fucking hard to do that. At the end of the day, I don't know what her deal is. I don't know what her situation is. It doesn't matter. I'm not sitting here blaming her. I'm not even going to sit here. There's no even putting her down. It's not about that. Regardless if she's talking to somebody else, if she's scared, or if she just doesn't like me that much, it doesn't really matter. But it's learning to accept and see the situation for what it really is. Here's the thing. Initially, my body, right, was telling me the truth about this situation. She was dismissive early and I ended up ghosting her, right? And then I came back on here and I was like, you know what? I'm going to lead with love. It is what it is. Now, do I feel better that I was vulnerable with her and hit her up for a call and hit her up to chill again? Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no regrets to that. But also, I just want to point out to you something really fucking important, which is your intuition and your body is telling you everything that you need to know every single time. Seriously. Every single time you feel like you're doing too much because somebody dismissed you, I can guarantee you are putting yourself down, you are rejecting yourself in a situation in which you should not. Do you see what I'm saying? Most people, right? There's another client, and I'm going to get to the Limerance thing. I promise. I didn't forget. But I have another client that I worked with today. Same deal, right? Couple of dates. First, actually, after the second date, he had ghosted. She reaches out, right? They get back on the hook. They go on another date or two. Last time they hang out, he pretty much stays over her house. And it was a quick hangout. 8 o'clock. They go on a date, have a good time, vibe, go home. They don't hook up. They have a little bit of a moment about the hookup. She's a little in her head about hooking up with people. So they had a little bit of moment, to that. Wakes up very early in the morning. She's waking him up to cuddle. He's kind of being a little dismissive. He's like, I gotta go. Leaves. And pretty much texts her in the morning after she had texted him, of course. As you guys know, you probably feel some sort of way. Most of my overthinkers, what happens? You feel the need to over-explain yourself. More than likely. Because that's what happens. When you start to overthink, the problem is you actually do start to do too much. And you're not doing too much because you are too much. You're doing too much because you are thinking too much. Genuinely. Really. Because that anxiety is getting the best of you. Think about the times in your life where you perform the best. And I'm not talking about just in dating. I'm talking about in your life, right? Think about a sport. Think about you driving. I don't give a fuck. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You at work. Are you describe to yourself the way that you feel when you're doing something well? Most people would probably turn around and say, I'm not really thinking. I'm calm, right? I'm just present. I'm in the energy, right? I'm in flow state, as they would call it. And that is really true. That is true. And what ends up happening is for a lot of my anxious and my overthinkers, that's what happens is you get out of flow state. You then start to do more than you really want to because you're not actually internally at peace. And we're going to talk about a tool today on how to combat that as well, or when we're going to talk about this limerence thing. But one quick caveat to that is you overthink yourself into thinking that you did too much, and then you end up actually coming off too much because you're explaining yourself too much. Do you see what I'm saying? You overthink yourself into thinking that you did too much or that you did something wrong, when in reality, it was fine. For instance, the client that I'm working with, right? That's what happened is that she woke up the next day. She felt because the interaction in that one moment around the intimacy was weird, she felt that in the morning, she needed to explain it. Hey, had a good night. Hey, I'm really sorry about right? Goes into like next time, like, we'll breathe, or he's talking about breath work with him, if I need to calm down, whatever it is, right? But yeah, and then he turns around and he texts her and he's like, hey, no problem. Yeah, I could do that with you. But to be honest, I'm going to be really busy this week. Just wanted to let you know. And what happened? She hasn't heard from him in 4 or 5 days. Then what happens? Anxiety up the wazoo, even worse now, right? Because now we're tripping. But that's what's crazy. And think about my situation and my client's situation, the parallels, right? There was initial ghosting, there was initial disconnect, and then a reconnection because me and my client, right? You almost feel like you didn't do enough. You blame yourself because you feel like you're not putting in enough energy, or you weren't vulnerable, or you create some fucking reason as to why you fucked up. You go make amends on the relationship. Meanwhile, your body was right the whole time. Meanwhile, the truth was there the whole time, but it's really fucking hard to look at it. So, I guess this is all to say is like your intuition, again, very powerful. If somebody's dismissing you, I would say first instinct is always going to be to take responsibility and blame ourselves, but I would say cut that shit out. Not true. If somebody's dismissing you, that is a choice they're making. And here's the thing though, again, I'm happy that I did say something because it gave me the clarity that I needed. It gave me the clarity to know that, hey, I did my part. I showed up vulnerable. I was honest. I asked you to chill. And again, I don't understand if it's like fear or not. Just like, tell me what it is, right? I hate people that can't communicate. So childish. I'm going to be real as fuck. Like, I think I'm good dating like these 24, 25-year-olds. I'm good. They're just not there. They're so scared of their own fucking shadow. It's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, like, that's why, like, here's the thing. When I see those videos online, you guys see those videos online all the time, right? The ones about like older guys dating younger women, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I have no problem with that in itself, right? Like if you're like fucking older and you're dating somebody like 10 years younger, I don't care. But I'm going to say for my personal experience, I cannot be in the same room relationship with somebody that much younger than me because we are just not on the same level. We are not on the same page of emotional maturity. And there's only so much you could do at those ages. I think about myself when I was fucking 24, 25. Yes, I was mildly focused on this shit. Probably not as crazy heavy as I was in my late 20s. But to my point, like, I still was avoidant. I still wasn't there. I was dating a Miami bottle girl at 28. You know what I mean? What the fuck was I doing across the country? Come on now. And that's what I'm saying is that, like, even on the phone call that I had with the girl that I was talking to, so much fear. It's crazy. Oh, like, how do you feel about people like making comments about you? When I hear this energy that you have no self-trust, it's like, yeah, it's like, why am I trying? Because I already know where this is going to end up. But at the end of the day, I try because why not? To put myself in a situation as an avoidant, to be uncomfortable, to be out of control, allow somebody to see my vulnerability. Because at the end of the day, it's power for me. I get to show myself that I could be myself. And it does set you free. Now, let's talk about the limerence thing. because again, this is important, right? So what have I been doing in order to regulate my nervous system in those moments? I'm anxious and avoidant badly, right? I had to do a lot of energy and a lot of work. I actually just got a new coach this week who really helped me with this. Again, I'm always learning. I'm always taking on new coaches. This is like my third or fourth new fucking coach. I love it. You get a different perspective from so many different people. And again, I just feel great. I will say that too, just a little caveat. Like, really, I've been so at peace with myself and like so on point and so in my rhythm and so in my flow state. Like, you guys have not a clue, genuinely. Like, it's fucking awesome. And again, it's credit to the work that I've been doing, but let's talk about this really quick. So what ends up happening is when we get a moment of anxiety, essentially what it is your body thinks that you are in danger. So let's bring this to the top. What does every human desire, want more than anything on the planet? We want love and connection. We are wired for love and connection. That's what we want. What are we the most afraid of? What do we fear the most, typically? Rejection and abandonment. We do everything in our power to not be rejected and abandoned. Now take it back, right? Why are we wired this way? We are wired this way because back in the motherfucking day, right, when we were just animals more, right? We weren't in this society that we have built. And think about this. We're only 2,000 years into this, right? Think about, we are not that far away from like our ancestors that were just like Homo sapiens, like just like scavenging the earth. And what happened, right? Back in the day, we had evolved to build these bodies, to build these systems that were built to defend ourselves and to protect ourselves and to survive. That's what it is. We are created to survive. Our bodies and our minds, that's how we are developed. So you need to understand something about our history as human beings, right? So what happens is when we are triggered, right? What happens to our body? Shortness of breath, right? Our blood starts pumping a little extra. We start to overthink. Your appetite starts to suppress, right? Maybe you'll get a little bit of sweaty hands, palms. And what really happens is because your nervous system is in fight or flight because you think you're in danger, you can't really be at this state of, we talked about it, flow state, or you don't have this connection to your heart because you're in fear, right? If you're in fear, you can't be in love. You see what I'm saying? You're not operating from this place where you're connected to your heart. You're connected to your true self, your soul, because you're in fear. And why are we in fear? Because we're afraid to get abandoned. Think about this. Again, back in the day, it was because we needed to survive, right? That's why if we got abandoned from our group, what happens? We're freaking the fuck out. We're on an island. We're in the woods by ourselves. Think about this. If we were a little child and our parents conceived us, as a human being, we have no way to protect ourselves beyond others, beyond our caregivers. And imagine back in the day, right? Your parents run away from you and you're this like little kid. You're going to be freaking the fuck out. But the reason is because you were built that way. Because we were built to survive. Now, the problem is fast forward all of this to our modern day society. The difference is like when we're in danger now, it's not really real. You're not actually really in danger of dying. You're not going to not survive. But the problem is we are still wired for abandonment and rejection. We don't want to feel those things. And again, it's because our body is built that way. So what we really need to do in those moments when we're, again, people talk about limerance, right? This infatuation, it's this attachment. Again, you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to be abandoned. We have this fear of that. So anytime our body senses that, even though you're not actually really in danger, fight or flight, nervous system, right? Starts to react. It reacts in the same way as if like a fucking tiger was coming after you. It's fucked up. But the problem is now it's fucking texting and Instagram and random people. But you also got to understand too, think about the way that we communicated back in the day. It was so much different. When we communicated back in the day, it was face to face. If somebody wasn't with us back in the day, we had no ability to text them or call them. Think about the way communication is now. Imagine if you were having a face-to-face conversations back in the day, right? And it was like texting. Imagine you're texting someone, you're having a conversation. Hey, how are you doing? And imagine this is like old time, right? You're having this conversation in person. Hey, what's up? Oh, I'm doing good. I'm chilling. What's up? How you doing? And you're just having this conversation. Now, in our modern day world, we could communicate with somebody, right? You say, hey, how you doing? The problem is because we're connected through cell phones, they could be in a whole different other place doing a whole other thing. But imagine now, take that same scenario, but bring it into real life back when we didn't have cell phones. Imagine sending somebody a message, right? Saying, hey, how you doing? And they're right in front of you. And next thing you know, poof, they just disappeared. Imagine they just were not in front of you anymore. You'd probably be like, what the fuck? I was doing the caveman. Like, what's going on, right? That fear, right? You start palpitating, right? Your heart's going to start moving fast. Like, whoa, 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 right? Because you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? This is why in our modern day society, it's so difficult because communication isn't like that anymore. The fact that we can send a message and then not hear anything from somebody for a really long time, our body doesn't know how to react to that. Because again, it's considering survival. It's considering your biggest fear, which is abandonment, right? If I'm communicating to somebody and then all of a sudden they disappear, your nervous system is going to go through the roof. So let's talk about how to handle it. So what do we need to do? We need to reconnect to our breath. We need to reconnect and slow ourselves down, right? Because what we need to do is we need to get back to a heart-centered life, right? We need to get back to a heart-centered, a soul-centered existence. So, and again, a tool that we can use. Let me teach you guys one really quick because I actually just learned this week about breathing. So let me ask you, if I asked you to take a deep breath right now, I want you to take a deep breath wherever you are, if you're sitting down listening to this, whatever. And the reason it's important is because I'm going to show you something. So if you have a moment to actually take a deep breath, I would really like that. So really quick, I want you to take a deep breath on 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, when you took that deep breath, and maybe you're watching or you're not, but did your chest and your shoulders move up? When you took a deep breath, your chest and your shoulders went up, right? Now, it turns out that is an improper way to breathe. And it's actually an improper way to slow down your nervous system. So when most people think that they're taking a deep breath to calm down, they're actually not doing it properly. Because what's happening is when your nervous system is dysregulated and you're in fight or flight, the problem is the shortness of breath is up in the chest area. It's in the chest area. So when you're moving your chest up and down, you're actually not calming yourself down. What you want to do when I say take a deep breath, I actually don't want you to move your chest or your shoulders at all. Think about taking a deep breath and your chest and your shoulder line don't move. And what you want to do is you want to take that deep breath down into your belly. Because what you want to do is you want to expand your lungs downwards and expand your torso. But you want to do that 5 seconds into the belly. So that's what we're going to do. Don't move your chest and your shoulder line. And I just want you to take a deep breath now. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. That's actually a deep breath. That's a true deep breath. And what I want you to do is if you're ever in a moment where you're overthinking, right? Somebody hasn't texted you back. You're in fight or flight now. You know why you're in fight or flight, right? Because your body is working on survival. It doesn't know that you're not actually in danger. So what do we need to do? We need to reconnect to our breath. We need to calm down our nervous system and reconnect to our heart. Because if we can get to that place, we can make a more centered decision, right? We can overcome that fear that we might be having. maybe the thoughts will still kind of be there, but you have a better opportunity at not letting that fear beat you, because you can get to a place of more calm. And so that's what you need to do, is you need to be able to have these tools in order to regulate your nervous system, get out of fight or flight, because that's what's causing the overthinking. That's what's causing you to think that, oh, are they going to text me back? Are they not? Blah, blah, blah. Think about this, if your body was actually calm, what are the thoughts that you probably would have, or newer updated thoughts? When you just took that deep breath, how did you feel? We talked about it, flow state, more calm. You're probably able to then shift gears and get into your day. You could probably shift gears and get into, work or something like that. Do the things for yourself that are really important. Think about the girl that asked the initial question, right? Hey, I really struggle with this anxiety and this limerence when I meet somebody new, and I don't know how to handle it. I just showed you how to handle it. Reconnect to your breath, reconnect to your body, calm your nervous system down, have the awareness that your brain state, right? When you are overthinking like that, there's too much activity going up in your body and into your brain. And you need to slow your mind down, but you need to slow your mind down with slowing your body down. You need to calm your body down first, and eventually the overactive mind will also calm down as well. As soon as you're able to do that, then your thoughts will probably be a little healthier. You could probably get yourself back to more useful thoughts. Another question I want you to ask yourself is, when you have thoughts, is not, hey, is this thought true? That's not going to help you, right? What I want you to ask yourself, is this thought useful? Is this thought useful? I'll give you examples from thoughts that I was having. So I'm walking around, right? And I'm walking around the neighborhood because it's what I do when I'm a little anxious, right? Is I start to move my body a little bit. Sometimes it calms me down, but again, connecting to the breath, I think, is better. But some of the thoughts I was thinking as I'm walking around, and this is Monday night, right? This girl hasn't answered me for a day and a half. So what's happening? What are the thoughts in my head? Oh man, maybe I should have gave her a hard date. I said, hey, I'm free between Tuesday and Thursday for coffee, or I'm available Thursday night for dinner. What was the thoughts I was having, right? Because now she hasn't answered me for a day and a half. Oh shit, maybe I should have planned a hard date. Maybe I should have gave her one time. Maybe I came off too soft. Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe that first time we hung out, I said something that was too much. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she's just scared of me, actually. You see what I'm saying? It's all these different thought processes and bubbles about what could have happened, or what I could have done differently, or why are they not answering me? Why didn't they do this? But really, if I'm at my most confident state, what would really be happening in my life? Or ideally, where would I like to be? I would like to have that thought and say, hey, Chris, is this thought useful? Oh, did she like you? Or maybe she didn't think that you were that attractive. Chris, is that thought useful? No, it's not. It's not really useful. Okay. So why don't we let that thing linger in the background? You don't need to address that thought, because also you don't control your thoughts. Sorry about it. Just because you're thinking something doesn't mean that it's true. We have to be the awareness behind our thoughts. You have to be the awareness behind your thoughts. You have to understand that you are also a human animal being, that, again, you have a mind, you have a body. These things are disconnected from your heart and your soul and your awareness. You got to look at them as separate parts, and you got to understand how to utilize them better, right? Body and mind, built for survival. It's not built for understanding why Jessica isn't looking at my Instagram story. It doesn't understand that. You know what I mean? That's not what it's wired for. It's wired for keeping Chris alive, Chris hungry. Chris don't want to lose connection, because if Chris lose connection, he's going to get hurt. You see what I'm saying? Oh shit, worry about this connection because you are going to die without connection. Understand yourself. So again, be able to take in these thoughts, look at the thoughts, ask yourself if it's useful, calm down your nervous system, and just move to the next moment. Because what ended up happening is eventually I was able to calm myself down. I connected to my breath. I got into my work. I think the next day I woke up, I had a coaching call. I just started to feel good. I was like, you know what? She doesn't want this or she doesn't like me or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Again, don't even think about the reasons. The reasons aren't important. What's more important is I am present on the things that are important to me. Hey, create a video, get into your good energy, help somebody today, right? Shift that focus to things that are useful for my existence, right? You don't need to distract myself, but to the point of it's like, you really want to cultivate this habit of showing yourself and showing your body this reinforcement that you're not going to sit there and overthink. Worrying, the reason that we also worry is because we feel that by worrying about it, that it will ultimately make us feel better. That is also your body's natural response to try to handle your bodily fear. It's also the way, I know this is tricky, but your relationship to worry is also very important because your body has a tendency and a pattern on how it handles fear, right? Like I said, for some people, it's overthink, right? You want to sit there and think. And your body, that's your body's response to thinking that if I can think about this problem long enough, I will eventually solve it or I'll feel better. If I think about it, I'll feel better. But you got to show your body, no, that's not what we got to do. Actually, no. That's like a child thinking to itself, all right, if I keep crying and if I keep doing this shitty behavior, eventually I'm going to get what I want. What you need to show your body is that, no, that's actually not true. So allow that worry to come up, but then say, no, I'm going to calm myself down. I'm going to recognize, hey, I don't want to worry about that longer. If I keep thinking about it, I'm not going to solve it. Do something else. Like I said, reconnect to your breath, calm yourself down, calm your nervous system down, get out of fight or flight, get to more positive, useful thoughts, and get on with your fucking day. Seriously, get on with your fucking day. So in the case of this girl, right, it's going to take a lot of repetition and practice for that. It's funny, after she sent me that message, she was like, oh, homie texted me and now I feel so much better. And that's a human experience, right? It is. We talked about what do we love the most? Love and connection. What do we fear the most? Abandonment and rejection. So when we get those, bites of love and connection, of course we're going to feel good. Of course. That makes sense. It's about being able to cultivate inner peace through the discomfort. What was podcast 100 all about? Living life with this centeredness that no matter if it's what we perceive to be negative or what we perceive to be positive, is staying right there, present with your experience, right? Hey, yeah, he texted you right now, and just flow with it. Just flow with it, right? Nothing is either good or bad. Trust in God, right? Trust in something beyond yourself. That's what I also reminded myself in those moments. If somebody, I'm overthinking, right? It's like, God's got a plan. I'm good. He's got my back, right? If she doesn't answer me, that means she wasn't for me. That's all I reminded myself too, right? With that girl, same thing. All right, she wasn't for me. Cool. You know what is crazy is like in that time that I let it go and I was still positively showing up myself, I actually got two people that are actually very interested in me and are texting me and are wanting to show up and they want to go on a date. So just like that, I got rid of the person that wasn't for me and I got connected to the people that were. And it's crazy because we sit there and we, again, overanalyze this fucking person that's not showing up for us. And there's so many good fucking people out there. It trips me up. And honestly, maybe that's the one comment I want to make about the invisible string theory. It's just like, I don't know. I guess, yeah, here's the thing. I guess the invisible string theory is essentially this idea that you are tied to certain people and that at the right timing in life, like you might get reconnected or you were connected in a past life or you guys are meant to be with each other. To me, it's a whole bunch of bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong. True, right? I guess invisible string theory is essentially like what is truly meant for you will be. But the problem with the string theory, in my opinion, is it gives people this false sense of hope to hold on to certain people in your life. Cut that shit out. Right? To me, be so present focused when it comes to your life. You know, if something didn't work out with somebody, why do I need to put them on a string and say, maybe we're going to reconnect? And I would say that mostly I see that more from our women, let's be honest, because women really have this thing embedded in them somewhere deep down. I really don't know where it's from, that they have this thing where if they had a really good vibe with a guy and they really liked him and they had a falling out, that all of a sudden they have this giant hope for the rest of their lives that they're going to somehow, things are going to be different and they're going to reconnect and things are going to change. I'm sorry. I fucking hate that. I hate it for you. I hate it for you, to be honest. Because to me, why live like that? Yeah, I guess if somebody's really meant to be back in your life, sure. But holding on to this idea that like they've got a piece of you or you have this fucking soul tie to somebody, why keep yourself stuck like that? What's the point? Like, let it go. It's neither here nor there. Yeah, maybe they'll come back or some shit, but have no focus on that. Let that person go. My point is let the hope die. Burn the fucking string. Who gives a fuck about the string? In a past life, this bullshit. Fuck out of here with that. For real. I can't. One thing I wrote down was just admit defeat, let it go. What the fuck? Seriously. And this is not me being a pessimist. It's not that. It's just that I think too many people are blocking their future blessings of their life by limiting their life to certain individuals that they had a good vibe with. You don't have 3 loves of your lives. Stop listening to all these theories. Stop going to the fucking, what's their names? The psychiatrist, not the psychiatrist. Stop going to the psychic who's turning around and telling you, oh yeah, you guys will reconnect. Oh, I see something for you where an old love is going to come back into your life, blah, blah, blah. The same problems and patterns you probably had back then with that person are going to be the same problems and patterns you might still have with them in the end. And you know what? Guess what? For some people, it might work out. For other people, it won't. Write your own story. Right? Like, for instance, is it possible that I have an ex from my life that maybe one day down the road, like when I'm fucking way older, that maybe we reconnect and it works out? Maybe. But why do I need to fucking sit there? I'm not going to hope for that. What I'm going to hope for is that I could be at peace right now. What I could hope for is that I'm going to connect with the people that are meant to connect with me right now. I am not concerned about anybody from my past. Fuck out of here. I just, why? And anybody that's not showing up for you, think about what we just talked about at the beginning of this podcast. Intuitively, if you have friction with somebody and the relationship is already starting off on a poor footing, or you guys have ghosted each other, there is ignoring involved, all this shit, I'm telling you right now, that is, in my history of doing this and of talking to so many people that have had relationships like that, I would say, and I would go on a limb and say, it never fucking works out. It never does. It does not. You can't have that amount of friction and things start to evolve. My whole point is that I think that there's people out there that are way more aligned for you. And it's just too many people are just holding on to people that are just genuinely not for them, for this made up fantasy about how you want them to be, or this fantasy about how they treated you for a 2-month period. That's not the whole person. All right, let's go to the questions because they were fucking good. Honestly, they were really good. I want to go to the expectations question because this one was really big for me. So somebody asked, can you address if any of your clients have too high of expectations and what you say to them? Literally all my single friends say that they deserve the best. 6 foot, good body, make good money. Meanwhile, they aren't the best looking or successful and have been single for years. Well, put the pieces together. You just did it almost in the question itself, right? you just said, they aren't the best looking and they aren't successful. They don't see themselves, and they're looking for these people that are 6 foot, good body, make good money, all that stuff. I'm a huge believer in this, that the outcomes in your life are in direct correlation with your perception, right? So for instance, right, my videos not doing well on TikTok, right? Let's just take this as an example. You guys hate this example. But what I guess I'm trying to say is, like, the results that I'm getting in terms of, people seeing this artwork and maybe it not getting that much traction, to me, there's a reason for that, right? There's a disconnect between my performance and the results, right? I'm going to have to elevate my performance if I'm going to have to get better results. The same thing in dating is true, right? The reason that your friends are single for as long as they are is because they cannot see that their performance or who they are is not aligning with the standards that they have. So either something has to give. Either, yeah, their standards need to come down, or they need to step up. I agree with you on that. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't have a really good understanding or awareness of themselves. They really don't. They cannot see reality. They really can't. And I want to talk about something about, certain standards like this. I really don't think it's a wrong thing to have high standards. I love high standards. I really think that you really should have high standards. But yeah, exactly what you said. If you're going to have high standards, you better be putting in the energy. You better be putting in the work for that. Because the only person you're going to be fooling is yourself then. That's like the people, it's funny. I mean, think about this. How many people that do you know personally that tell you all the things that they want to do, all the jobs that they're going to have, the career that they want, the money that they want, the relationship that they want, and then you spend some time with them and you realize you're not putting in the energy and the effort for this. Just like you just said. You want somebody 6 foot good looking. Are you going to the gym? Are you putting in the energy on yourself? Are you working hard to receive the income that you want? That's what I'm saying. Leave these people in the dust. At the end of the day, they're never going to receive the things that they want because they don't put in the energy for that. So let them go. And if you're somebody that's not getting the results that you want, you need to check yourself. And again, this is where we need to take personal responsibility and awareness, right? I call out my anxious folks all the time, do I not? Where I'm like, you want commitment, but the reality is you're not committed to yourself. A lot of people are like this. Everybody wants the high dollar income. Everybody wants the beach body. How many people are putting the energy and the effort for that? Not many. That's the world we live in. So for this question in particular, it is what it is. Let your friends be delusional. Honestly, let them be delusional. That's on them. They're just not going to get the results that they want. And that's okay. Sorry. But the other thing too is for anybody that is confused about their standards, right? I want to change the way that you're dating a little bit. Because this is something that I've been really working on heavily, which is like, as an avoidant person for as long as I was, what would happen is like, I also was chasing this idea of perfect for a very long time. I probably still deal with that. I really do. I truly feel in my life, I really haven't had or found a person that I felt has truly matched me, genuinely. That's just truth. But what I'm realizing is what's more important than like the 6 figures, the body, any of that stuff, it really is energy. It really is, how do I feel with this person? There was a long time that I feel like I was focused on the wrong things. I was focused on the external stuff, not really paying attention to the internal stuff. And so that's what's happening now, right? So take this recent situation. I was paying attention to my body, right? I was paying attention to how I felt. I was like, this girl's not showing up for me. Externally, she was beautiful. Externally, she was hardworking. Externally, she was a lot of the things that I wanted, right? My standards on the external were there, right? Brunette, thick fit, went to the gym, took care of herself, blah, 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 right? Hardworking. But how did I feel inside? You're dismissing me. You're not showing up for me. That doesn't feel good. And it is such a better place to date from than dating from just this illusion of standards. Because here's the thing, it's not that I won't receive those other things, right? Again, I do want somebody hardworking. I do want somebody that's going to show up for me, be consistent, I'm really attracted to. But my body knows those things. I don't need to have this like particular scale. It's not like, hey, you need to weigh this much, or you need to make this much, or you need to be this hardworking. It's more of like, are you motivated? Right? Do you have an energy that also complements mine? Do you communicate well with me? How do I feel when I'm around you? Do I feel at peace? Do I feel secure? Am I motivated by you? Are you holding me accountable? Do I like the challenge? So to me, that's such a better way to date, because it's almost like your standards are built into your body. Your standards are built into who you are. You just got to pay attention. And again, most people are paying attention to the external stuff, right? Again, it's outcome focused. Most people are outcome focused. They're not present focused. They're not focusing on what really matters, which is the process, which is the energy that you're feeling, which is the aura of the situation, is how do you feel doing it? Rather than, hey, what's the outcome going to be? Okay. Here's the other one. That I thought was really great. So let's talk about this. There's two of them, and this is all about attracting. So she asked a question. She said, what's the best way to put yourself out there after finding peace within? I feel like I'm at the point where I don't want to lose my peace, and it's a little scary letting people in because I've worked so hard to get to where I am. What would be the next step into opening up to letting someone in? I'm one to take dating seriously, but I'm also trying not to do that so I can get to know people without the added pressure, but I'm not sure where to begin with that either. So essentially, I feel like the question here is, she is at peace on her own. She wants to date. The problem with her is that when she does date, she wants to date seriously, but she also wants to date without any expectations. So there's a lot of confusion to the way that she is dating because, again, there's a lot of these different pulls, right? It's like, I want to do it, intentionally, but I also don't want to go too fast. And I also have my peace. So I also don't want to let somebody into my world so fast and they consume me to the point that I lose my peace. And so this is where it's about finding balance, right? It is balance with all these things. I think about me when I'm dating, again, this is what it's about, is paying attention to your experience. Right? Get to know people, be vulnerable, be open. I'm such a big believer in that. Like, I don't want to hide myself. Like, I understand some people might disrupt your peace, but if you have the tools to calm yourself down, it's exactly what we talked about earlier, right? Which is like, for me personally, I'm anxious avoidant, right? I have a lot of peace right now being single. I started talking to this new girl. I am being vulnerable. I'm texting her. I'm asking to hang out. I'm asking to do things because why not? I want to connect with people. I do want to find love, right? That's the intentional part of it. Now, you can't control the way somebody else is going to show up. You can't do that. So you're going to meet people that you could show up intentionally, even with no expectations, right? I didn't have this expectation that I was going to date her immediately. No, it was more like, hey, I want to get to know you, so I want to spend time with you. That's all it is, right? And I'm just setting that precedent by asking her to chill. But then what I'm doing is I need to be able to show myself that I can navigate uncomfortable moments. This is part of dating. Are you going to be perfectly at peace all the time? No. But that's the thing too. It's like, you also don't want to be so avoidant to the point that you don't let anybody in because you're just so afraid of your peace being disrupted. Like, to me, that's also like, I don't know. Is that the existence that you want just to like date? I talked about the thing that human beings want more than anything else. I think deep down, I think most people feel this way. We want love and connection. So the people that hide because they feel like they're, again, protecting their peace so much, to me, all you're doing is you're just trying to be in control. You don't want to allow yourself to get out of control. And yes, while you might not get out of control by never dating somebody and never taking a chance and never being vulnerable, I mean, to me, how good is that existence? How great is that existence? That's still uncomfortable. I know people like that. And like, they say that they're at peace, but I know deep down that they would love connection. It sucks when you're so isolated from people and you're not showing up and you're not trying, you're not being vulnerable. But a lot of those people, it's like, again, it's not that you're so truly at peace because you know you want love, right? I know people that, I mean, think about the girl that even sent in the question earlier. I think she said she's been single for 2 years. That's what happens. You're so scared of getting engulfed by the relationship that you don't even try. Honestly, you want me to be real as fuck? I really truly feel that the girl that I hit up to chill truly feels like that. I honestly have a gut feeling that it's not that she doesn't like me and it's not that we don't have a vibe. I truly feel this gut feeling that she is just scared to put herself out there, and she probably wants me to put in so much energy and so much effort to show her that I'm available because she's so scared of the outcome. She's so scared of getting engulfed. The first time that we hung out, she was like, this is too intimate. Me coming over your house and cooking for you is too much because I don't want to get taken advantage of. But ultimately, you keep yourself in a box, right? So for instance, I met a new girl this week and it's crazy. She invited me over to cook at her house with her. And she's a little bit older and a little bit, I think, more well-adjusted. And it's crazy because energetically, I'm so much more attracted to that, right? It's like the girl that's being so skittish with me that is like forcing me into this box of like having to show up so strong for her because she's so scared. It's like, that's not fun. That's not good energy. It's not good vibes, right? You're making it impossible for me to date you. And yes, maybe you protect yourself from me. And yeah, maybe I didn't see you as my person. I guess I don't really know. But again, we never even got to find out because you're so fucking scared of that possibility. You're so scared of the possibility of somebody hurting you that you don't even try. And again, you can only do that for so long before you're going to have to start facing your fears. Like I said, it's a choice to be in a relationship and to allow people to mirror you and to show you your fear. And so for you asking this question, what I would say is that you got to face your fear. You might have to compromise your peace a little bit if you're going to want to be in a connection. That's part of it. I mean, think about it. That's anything. We talked about success. Success is all about risk. What does risk entail? A lesson outcome or a winning outcome. You get either one of those two. But you cannot win if you don't play. Yeah, you might not actually learn lessons and you might not disrupt your peace, but you actually don't get any further either. So my first piece of advice to you is take the risk. And here's one thing I really wanted to hound on this podcast is that cut out the TikTok coaches, the conventional advice. Oh my God, this makes me want to fucking scream. Because you know what makes a lot of people overthink is they see all day long, don't accept coffee dates. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't hang out with them. Don't send the text message. Don't be vulnerable. Act like you don't care. Detach. Don't accept this. Don't do that. Hey girl, if he's not texting you 4 times, what the fuck are you doing? Even to the guys, reverse. Yo, you're paying for her on a first date? She's just using you for your money. She's just using you. She's just using you. All it does is it's fear mongering. And the problem is it just gets a lot of views because it's controversial. So a lot of people think in their head that that is what's actually real. That's what's actually real. Oh no, what's really real is that most guys won't show up for you. What's really real is that most women are using you for your money. Bullshit. Bullshit. All our society does is help each other cultivate these limiting, fearful beliefs. That's all it does. And so to my point, right? So let me give you an example, right? Venn diagram. I have 2 girls in my life, right? 25-year-old girl, super fearful, super scared. We hang out. She crosses boundaries she doesn't want to. And ultimately, now she's being so distant from me. And maybe it's because I'm not, quote unquote, putting in enough effort. I don't really know. I have no clue. Or maybe she doesn't like me. Who the fuck knows? And then on the other side, I got this new girl. She's 30 years old. just a lot more at peace and a lot more confident, willing to take risks. Literally said, hey, why don't you come over and I'll cook you dinner? Right? Why would most girls not do that? Oh, well, a guy has to take you on a date because he has to. Because how do you know he likes you? When you have enough self-worth and enough self-trust, you are willing to treat people like you would a friend. Right? I'm telling you right now, and this is me deep in my soul, deep in my truth, I am so much more attracted to a girl that is open and free like that and trusts herself enough to willing to have me at her house because I'm like that. I don't care if you come over. I'll cook you dinner too. I don't give a fuck. And the reason I'm like that is because I trust that if we actually are aligned, we're going to keep hanging out with each other. It doesn't matter if we go on a fancy date. It doesn't matter if I take you to coffee. It doesn't matter if I take you to a fancy dinner. It doesn't matter if I have you over my house. But everybody's so in their fucking heads that they think they're going to get taken advantage of that they don't show up how they want to show up. Show up the way that you want to show up. If you see what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to have him over and cook him dinner, do it. Oh, what are you scared? He's going to take advantage? Is it really taking advantage if you wanted to do it? Is it really taking advantage if you knew that you could handle the uncomfortable emotions associated with rejection? So here's the thing. Let me ask you this question. I bought the lasagna that this girl made at my house, the girl that, again, ghosted me. Am I supposed to turn around and be like, she fucking used me, bro. She used me. No, I wanted to buy the lasagna because that's just who I am. It's just the type of friend and the type of person that I am. Why did I text her to chill? Because it's the person that I am. It's because it's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take her to coffee or to dinner. It didn't matter to me. It didn't matter. All that mattered was that I was connecting with another person. It doesn't matter the location of the date. It doesn't matter how much it costs. What matters is the vibe and the energy. And this is what I was talking about, the standards thing too. Sometimes everybody's so worried about the external optics that they lose sight of the most important part of dating, which is like, how do we connect? And yeah, are we vibing? That's it. Right? Are we aligned on our goals? Are we aligned on the ways that we see life? You know, it's crazy to me. I feel like we've created all of these fucking rules. We have all these rules, and all these rules are just built because everybody is so scared of not getting the outcomes that they want. Everybody's so outcome focused. They can't handle their uncomfortable feelings. No one can. So no one wants to get hurt or rejected. Imagine the superpower that you would have if you listen to this podcast and you take on these tools, and even working with me, genuinely, this is what it's about, is the ability to live life the way that you want to live it without fear. That is my ultimate goal in working with you. Because that's the people I want to connect with. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't matter if I were to take this girl out on a fancy dinner. It doesn't mean I value her more. Genuinely. Think about the girl in the past. I went on remember, the girl that I was talking to for 5 months prior to this whole situation? We went to coffee and then she came over to my house. She started helping me with my closet. The other girl that I was taking on dates, I took her to a fancy fucking Korean barbecue place. I took her out on another super fancy date that I planned in advance and I did all this shit for. Who did I end up connecting more with? The girl that I was just fucking chilling with. The girl where it didn't fucking matter the location. The girl that just was like cool with being around me and just was like down for the friendship and wasn't so in her head about, you see what I'm saying? All these external things that don't fucking matter to the connection. So I guess to answer more fluidly this question, the next step for you in opening up to letting somebody in is take the fucking risk. Hang out with the person. Trust that if the person's meant to be in your life, they will be. Trust that you're going to go through a lot of rejection. Trust that you have the tools to maintain your peace if things don't go the right way. That is the biggest part for you. That is the biggest part. You will not get engulfed into a relationship if you have the right tools, if you have the right boundaries, if you have the full amount of self-trust. But you can only develop that muscle as well by going through it as well. You can't do it by yourself. I understand you have a lot of peace on your own, but there's things that you can't learn on your own. You can't. So I would say throw yourself into the fire. And I know you want to take dating seriously. Lead with your intentions. Again, what is the reason that we don't do this? Fear. Fear. Right? When I'm hanging out with these new girls that I'm about to go see, I tell them my intentions off the jump. Hey, I'm looking to get to know you. If it's meant to be something, then it will be something. You might turn around and be like, well, I really want an intentional connection. This is very serious for me. Okay, I hear you. And eventually, if we're hanging out, and I could tell that I don't want to take it seriously. I mean, I personally, because I feel like I'm a healed motherfucker, I would just tell you to your face. Now, what is somebody else going to do, right? Maybe they'll just dismiss themselves, right? Think about the girl that I've hung out, right? That I thought we were cool. We hung out. We had the date. She couldn't communicate properly because she's in fear. But you know what's so funny about that? That's why I like laugh at these situations now. Is because when you have so much self-trust and so much self-love and you have these tools, you will look at insecure people like, thank you, God, for letting me pass that person up. It doesn't look anymore like, oh my God, why didn't they choose me? Why didn't they pick me? I don't get it. Why am I not worthy? Fuck that. You start to see people differently. So again, if you set your intentions and then somebody starts to slow ghost you, right? Handle the emotions. Don't hit them back up. Don't beg for their attention back. And move on your merry way with your peace in hand. That's how you do it. All right. Where are we at? I think that might be it. All right. That's good for now. I do have another question and I'm going to tackle it on the next podcast. Let's set it up so you guys know. But she says, how can we stop attracting people who are not available like we would like? Yeah, we're going to get into that in the next podcast. I want to have a full scope for that because to me, it's very similar to this though. It is. It's the ways that we're talking about in terms of showing up in dating, right? Being very present, but there's more to that one in particular. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I love you guys. And yeah, if you ever want to work with me, build the self-trust. It's what we're talking about, right? And you want to date better, you know where to find me. All right. Love you guys.